Okay, this video mainly for James Galton. This is a video on track names, and I'm going to be using Train Player 8.1, the New York Central Saito Furnace layout for this video. There are a variety of different track names, and there's a couple that there's at least one that has two different meanings. And that one, it's kind of hard to get into because I don't really have an example of that in Train Player. So, start off, we're in Portsmouth. This layout has a huge classification yard here. And it has most of the tracks that we would have. We have the station tracks over here, PTSN. Both of those are the Portsmouth Station tracks. And now we have the coal barge loading. These are both spurs that are for loading coal into coal barges. Or is it taking coal? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've run on this. And the job currently that I have to do is a rolling mill job, so I'm not doing anything in this yard if I do a job. So we have here, we have the, let's see here. Get off of there. Now, the main is supposed to be a different color, but that stops here. This is actually the main, this track right along here, where the cursor is, right here. Then we have the yard, and we have classification track, let's say call it, counting from the main, we have classification track 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4-track classification yard. Now, a runaround track is like this has actually technically two runaround tracks. These are tracks that go around the yard, or you could consider this an arrival departure track, and this one a runaround track. Probably if this was a real yard, you were using this, you would probably use this to build up your train. But you can see in the yard, we have all these. Now this is pretty much empty because most of the cars are up at Saito Furnace, the steel mill. We have limestone loads here. These are from Brumman Limestone, which is up near Saito Furnace. And then we have these cars. This is all general merchandise cars. We have covered hoppers of grain. They came from from ADM Grain, which is at the docks. We have a whole bunch of empty hoppers here. Some other cars here with long track cars. Now here's something you would not see in a yard. For some reason on this programming, it has at least two steam engines, that sit in the yard all the time until they're used. It wouldn't happen in real life. In real life, they would be up here. And this brings us to another track. Here's another example of a runaround track. This is also a runaround track right here. You can use either one of these as a runaround. A runaround track is anything that you would use to get your locomotive from one end of the train. Like if you pull on the train here, you disconnect, you run around. Okay, we'll do a demonstration of runaround track. I grabbed the 440 out of the engine house area, and we're going to couple on to the cars that are in engine services track. Now we have a tank car of fuel, we have a hopper of coal, and 2 gondolas of sand. Tank cars of fuel, not appropriate for this era. We have no diesels in Portsmouth. Now here we have a repair shop, so it's not really a rip track, but it's the closest thing you'll get to in this that I've noticed. Rip track is a repair and place track. It handles minor repairs. If this shop wasn't here, it would be like swapping out axles. We used to have one here in Silver Springs. Actually used to be a storage track for Morton Salt. There used to be 2 of them there. And then they used it as a rip track, and then they used the track out front of Morton Salt for a rip track, as a rip track for a while. Now it's wherever they are able to put things. But we're demonstrating a runaround track. Okay, so I pulled those cars out of the service track. They're going to go back in there, but we're just using this for demonstration. We throw that switch, uncouple, and we pull away from our train. Now, if we were to say we need to put these into the yard, well, the locomotive is on this end. Don't want to run all the way to the other end of the yard. Yeah, you could, but let's just pretend that the yard is not double-ended. So we go out, we throw that switch, we reverse. And while we're doing this, repair and place is, as I said, any minor thing that can be replaced, coupler swap out, anything. Brake hose is broken. Anything minor, anything that doesn't require lifting the vehicle, lifting the car off the tracks. You can do that in a repair and place track, but they usually don't. And you have the engine services track here, which isn't really labeled as an engine. Oh, we do have a rip track. It's right here. We have a repair and place track, and then we have a repair shop. I thought it had a rip track. So there's your repair and place track, and then it has a repair shop over there. And these are functioning in on this layout. For some reason, they have, like, I think it's 3 dedicated cars that go from the yard to the repair and place track to the repair shop and back to the yard. They never do anything else, which is not prototypical. Anything can go to a rip track, because anything that needs a problem, if it's something that has an issue, people will do it in the car cards and waybills that they have a car that needs repair. They have it randomly generated somehow. Yes, Z, I hear you. But I'm not sure how they have it set up. I have not seen any videos where somebody has a working rip track or repair track. So now that we've gotten the locomotive on our other end, they're using our runaround, we then pull back through along the yard ladder. Yes, I'm going faster than the yard limit of 10, but I'm trying to get this done. Pull clear the switch. And then we can just shove the cars into the yard. There. Now that's our runaround track explained. Now we'll go down here to a team track. And we have one down here in the port area. Now this one's 2 tracks. Team tracks are usually, they were usually next to a passenger station, someplace that didn't have an actual freight depot. They would have a team track with one of those wooden ramps or it would just be a dirt driveway, and they would just unload boxcars into trucks and such. A team track can handle anything you want. If you want, you could even put an automobile unloading ramp or loading ramp and have a couple auto racks go to a team track to be unloaded for a smaller distributor of automobiles without having a huge auto facility on your track. You could do it. Whether that's realistic or not, can't be positive. There are so many different things that exist in the real world. It's kind of hard to tell what is. There's some things that you can definitely tell are not realistic, and other things you will find a prototype there somewhere. But this one's a little bit more sophisticated. Now you can easily unload tank cars at a team track. It just requires a hose and a truck to receive the liquid. So, acid chemical tank car. Now this one, as you can see up here, that's way too modern for steam to transition diesel era. Steam to transition era. So is the box car next to it, but most of the cars in this layout are too new. But we have a bulkhead, a short bulkhead flat car here. We've gondola, flat car, box car, tank car, all things that can be handled with a team track. This one has actual concrete platforms and 3 cranes. This is common in the layouts and Train Player for them to have these concrete platforms with cranes on them. Something you wouldn't really see at most team tracks, and you wouldn't really see 2 tracks for a team track. Usually it would be only one and only have a small ramp on one side if it had that much. But this is for any industry that is not close to the railroad to unload. Sort of example of this locally is the Arcade Natica. Their main line sort of serves as a team track. Arcade Junction, Sixth Lumber, which is located outside the arcade, will occasionally receive a bulk center beam flat car of lumber, and they will spot it on the Arcade Natica. Will spot it on their main, just right at Arcade Junction, right under the bridge. And Sixth Lumber comes down with trucks and their forklifts and unloads the center beam right there while it sits there. And then then they unload it quickly, and then the Arcade Natica comes back to the junction. They put the car to go back to the Buffalo and Pittsburgh. So that's a team track, rip track, classification tracks, runaround track. Your classification tracks are the tracks in your yard that you use to classify trains, to make up trains and break up trains. Spurs are, of course, anything going into an industry. This would be a lead. It's not a yard lead. It is just a lead because it leads to all of these industries. Kind of unrealistic tracks here, having a switch up here and then a sharp curve to go over a diamond into an industry. There could be some prototypes of that. I have never seen anything like that in the real world. At least not that tight. That's pretty tight. And it's pretty annoying because there are occasionally times in this map that you will get a car that comes out to here. You'll get 4 cars in the Miller Brewers, and I can only handle 3 inside, so you end up with 1 across here, and then you have to pull these out and move them out of the way before you get to tracks P10 through P14. It's really annoying. things happen. So that is, I think that's all the tracks that I need to explain. There is one more, and that is a clean out track. Now that's not on this layout, and I don't think there are any really examples of that I could really show. A clean out track, there's two types of clean out tracks. There is the clean out track that is for refrigerated box cars, that is for the cleaning, and there's also tank cars for the cleaning of the actual cars. Now, the clean out track here in Silver Springs was not used for that. It was never used for that. The clean out track here in Silver Springs is to clean out the yard. It's basically an arrival departure track that they would put the cars that are to leave Silver Springs, and they would put them there, and then the through trains would pick them up or whatever. That is another type of clean out track, and that's all the track explanations I can think of for right now. From CP Silver Springs, Mount Post 368, the Norfolk Southern Tier Line. Keep on living trains, Tim.